And there's a look at Dave Shard. We talked about Dave from Dayton, Ohio in that number 92 car. Now, he was running up in the 4th position. He's dropped back to 10th, and you can see some damage to that race car, so he's had a little off-track excursion. And look at the tire rub. And we'll take a look at why he dropped from 4th to 10th. And he got tagged by the number 3 car, Bernie Cochran. Bernie kind of spun him off out of the way, and he had to go through that skid pad area. They're inside turn 11 to rejoin the fray. And he dropped from, as we said, from 4th to 10th. Nick Ham continues to lead in car number 70.
Well, some of this damage was done earlier, also in turn 11, when he was in that big group of cars. So he's managed to damage both sides of that car now, and you can see pretty much whenever it gets loaded up in the corners, see it puffing blue smoke there. Well, that's tire rubbing, and if that happens too long, he'll actually see. Look at that left front there. Yeah, he'll lose a tire, and that'll be a big accident. So let's hope for his sake that that doesn't happen.
Bill Arbel, it has to be disconcerting for a driver to pull up behind him when he loads that chassis and they see the tire smoke. Just for a moment, you want to jump out of the throttle in case something's going to happen in front of you.
Actually, as a driver, we use that as he looks injured, so we got to go right after him and try to get rid of him as fast as we can. That makes us smile when we see somebody in front of us with a problem.
It's a terrible thing to say.
I know, but you know,
very sportsmanlike.
You're always looking for something.
Terrible but true is what it is.
Car number 98, Jason Priestley, back in the 5th position, and Greg Creamer is down in the pit lane with his teammate.
Having yourself an interesting race. Started 3rd and have slipped by our count now back to 5th, and you were chatting with Jason pretty intently before we tore you off of the headset. So are you getting ready for a change?
No, not yet. We've got plenty of fuel left. Unless there's another full course yellow, we don't want to change right now. He's having a little hard time with the brakes and the tires at the moment. We don't know if it's an overheating problem or really a problem with the brakes. We're trying to analyze that. So he's fighting a pretty difficult car right now.
You guys right in the thick of a big points battle right now. There's, what, 6 drivers, 3 teams covered by 2 points. You really need to finish up front. And with HAYNER and HEYNER having problems, great opportunity.
Yeah, they've got the Pontiac fixed. We saw them put a belt back on it under yellow, so they'll be back right in it. It's very close right now. We need a good finish. It's racing. You never know what's going to happen.
Of course, Jason, relatively new to this, must be good for him to be able to have you on the phones telling him how to handle the track and the tires, etc.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Jason has a great person to be chatting with on the radio to help him through the bad tires and the tough track.
Well, I hope so. I mean, you know, yeah, he's a quick learner. He's a quick study. But there are some things that he doesn't know, of course, right now, and I can help him with them.
All right, and, of course, he'll be getting in the car shortly as well, so it'll be great. Andy, good luck.
When you talk about the tight points battle, once again, Priestley and Pilgrim were only 2 points back of your leaders, HAYNER and HEYNER, and they were also tied for 3rd position with Bernie Cochran and David Murray. But if the race were to end right now, Murray would then take, and Cochran, his teammate, would take the points lead.
And our points leaders right now back in 17th place. We saw them stop earlier under yellow. They didn't lose a lap, but of course they ended up at the back of the line. So right now they're back in 17th place.
We've been talking about the fuel consumption of that number 70 Mazda that's leading. We're being told right now from the pit lane that the crew chief reports they can go 1 hour and 10 minutes on a tank of fuel. And they're going to try to make this on one stop.
That's it. Those rotaries have never been known to be real gas conservative. I mean, they suck it down to make the power, and that turbo really makes them abuse the fuel.
Well, there is Stu HAYNER right there, who came into this race leading in the points. Now, we had a chance to visit with Andy Pilgrim. He's not smoking right now, but we anticipated that, though.
Yeah.
The smoke would go away.
Once the fluid goes away, the smoke goes away.
And he starts sawing on that very, very stiff steering wheel.
Yeah, that's what they say in racing. Once the smoke stops, that's when you worry, because as long as it's smoking, you know you still have oil in it.
We were talking to Andy Pilgrim. What a sensational track record he has. He's finished 95 straight events. That is just incredible, because it's one thing to do it on your own. When you're driving with a teammate, and to still have a record intact like that.
That is amazing.
Well, I think he's done it not with just a teammate, but a number of teammates. Lots and lots of teammates, and lots of different teams, and all sorts of different race cars. So that really says a lot about Andy's ability and his experience. and the way he approaches his racing.
You're watching the Stu HAYNER, number 32, back there in the 17th position. Right now, some 40 seconds behind the leader, but they made that early pit stop. There's Fitzgerald again. He's still out there battling with lots of traffic on the racetrack.
Yeah, poor Mike Fitzgerald, who we talked to during that yellow, has been a very busy guy, and we've eavesdropped on some radio conversations.
A couple laps ago.
Yeah, here's turn 11, a little tap there, a little love tap.
That was Taz Harvey, who said, kind of, I'm back here, get out of my way. Another love tap down the straightaway.
Yeah, nothing too serious, but very busy back in the sports class.
I didn't think this was supposed to be a contact sport.
Well, it is in this class.
So once again, the 3-hour race continues to unwind here at the beautiful Sears Point Raceway in Sonoma, California. Nick Ham continues to lead. You see the time remaining in the Toshiba California Grand Prix from Sears Point Raceway. And now Ham's lead is about, look at second place. There is Scooter. And Scooter will be coming in for a pit stop and a driver change. But look at this. Now, this is Owen Trinkler in the number 0 car. His first outing in the Speedvision Cup. He gets tapped right here, and he goes for a bit of a ride, but some good driving.
Yeah, he just gets kind of pushed off turning in here, gets pushed wide of the apex, and then really gets it sideways. He lays a little rubber, gets that outside rear smoking, and does a nice job. Looked like full opposite lock there, but it also looks like Stu HAYNER got by him.
Well, there's a look once again at car 54, the car that started from the pole position. Terry Borcheller is in the pit lane waiting to take over the driving chores. He's with Calvin.
Well, Terry's just relaxing right now, and it looks like Scooter's doing a nice job out there for you. He's doing a real good job. Had a little problem on the start, but he's picked it up, and he's doing a real good job. I think he's going to leave me with a good car. That's what we're hoping. Now I just got to do it. What's the plan? I mean, where are you now with the window and all this yellow flag running? How long before you're going to get back in the car for the first time? It looks like we're going to try to get in. If there's a yellow flag, we'll go in right away. If it stays green, we're probably looking at another 15 minutes of running. We're hoping for a yellow right now.
Obviously, you had the win on the road. Atlanta had some problems in compound after the race, but you switched cars to this BMW, which was on the pole, you know, here last year at Sears Point, and obviously this car handles very well around this racetrack.
It's a great car. The BMW has been superb all week. I mean, the thing, like I said earlier, the car was almost made for this track. Dominic Massari and Brad Muller, the team owners, they want to come up with a rental program, and they felt that the Beamers really draw a lot of attention. I mean, they're great street cars, and they work great on the racetrack, and I think it's going to be a good program.
Right now, it's still a little tight. You know, going back to the beginning of the conversation here, it seemed as though, you know, you're not sure whether you can do it on one stop or you're going to need a splash, depending on when you come in here, correct?
Yeah.
It seems like you're not sure, Terry, whether you can just do it on one more stop or whether you will need a splash. Is that correct?
We're hoping to go green the whole way, or to not have to take a splash at all. That's what we're hoping. Right now, we don't know. You know how that goes. We'll have to play it out. Sears is usually pretty friendly as far as the yellow flags go. It's not friendly to those that are involved, but I think we'll get some yellow flags towards the end of the race. We usually do, and I think we'll be in good shape. Thanks, Terry. Thanks a lot, Calvin.
Some good battles back in the pack as you look at your leader right there, Nick Ham. Now the lead is beginning to dwindle, though, down under 5 seconds. It had been up over 8 seconds, so Scooter Gable is beginning to close in just a bit as he prepares for that pit stop. And some good competition back in the pack as we have reached now the halfway point in this 3-hour timed event. There is your leader, car number 70, Nick Ham.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason that gap has closed up so much is Nick Ham is in the thick of the lap traffic, so I think that's why we've seen that close up.
Good battle back in the pack for 6th position, and that is Bernie Cochran in number 3. Matt Turner is in number 17, and they have been going at it back and forth the past couple of laps.
Yeah, Bernie Cochran has been in this series for a number of years. I would say at least 8 years, maybe 10 years, and started at an Oldsmobile Achievas, I believe. Look at that Mustang getting a little sideways there through the S's. Wow. And has driven a number of different cars, but tremendously experienced in this type of racing and in this series in particular.
And 4 times he has found his way to victory lane in the Speedvision Cup competition.
And you can see the dust there getting kicked up. That's a real constant factor here at Sears Point because it's very easy to drop wheels. It's not grassy, it's just dusty and dirty. So whenever you drop a wheel, there aren't a lot of curbs. Whenever you drop a wheel, you're going to draw that dirt and grass back out onto the racetrack.
And looking at the rundown right now in the Grand Sports Division, once again, Ham continues to lead. There's the 54 BMW riding in second. Now, Bill Overland, do you get some kind of a cut off the winner's purse if they go ahead and take the victory with all the testing you've done for that 54 car?
You know, I'm hoping so. I'm going to be, I think when they put Borchello in there, it's really going to go fast. I have a good idea. He's been waiting there. He's chomping at the bit to go in there. And, no, they're doing a great job. I'm real happy for them. I mean, I drive for BMW in the GT class, so whenever a BMW wins, that's kind of like, that's my thing, so I'm happy for them.
You go down and spray some champagne in Victory Lane if they can pull off a victory, but we're still about an hour and a half away from anybody spraying champagne because Nick Ham continues to lead, but he has a pit stop coming up, and we're coming back. Back here at Sears Point International Raceway in Sonoma, California, and the car getting lapped is Jason Priestley. He is headed for the pit lane. There's a problem in that car. We're not sure what it is because he had dropped all the way back to about 24th position after running in the top 5. So let's go to Greg Creamer and find out what the problem is with the Mustang number 98.
Yeah, the word from the crew and Andy Pilgrim is big-time brake problems. So they're bringing him in. He was at a crawl, apparently an off-course excursion. I would suspect we're going to see them go after the front brakes. They've got the calipers ready. You can see them, they just set those calipers down along the side. They're going to do tires and everything else as well. And Jason looks like he will be getting out. Pilgrim will be getting in. Now watch for it. There comes the tire off. And, yep, they're going after those calipers. Going to have to pull those calipers off and do the switch. This will be a longish stop. It's amazing how quickly they can get it done. They're going to try and make the change. For some reason, Priestley's still sitting in the car. Now, maybe that he needs to... Oh, he's pumping up the brakes, I think. They're also topping off fluid, and you have to pump the pressure up and get the bubbles out of there. Pilgrim watching with some pretty intense interest as to the progress. Obviously, he's getting on board. He wants those brakes to be as good as possible. And, all right, here we go. Pilgrim now helping Priestley get out. They're going to complete the driver's change. Boy, this is going to be tough for the points. Again, they were in that top 2 in points. Priestley now making his way over and is going to help Pilgrim get in. I'm going to try as soon as he gets him buckled up to see if I can get a word with Jason, find just how bad this was. They still have to do rear tires. Fueling is complete. They're still going to have to do rear tires on this car. All right, gentlemen, this is going to be a little bit of a longish stop, so we're going to send it back to you. I'll try and grab Jason in a minute.
Well, let's go back and take a look at what happened earlier before he brought that car pit side.
Yeah, well, I think I can predict what's going to happen here because he's having brake problems. You can see he gets into turn 7 way too hot and just can't keep it on the road. And look at that berm kind of saved him there.
You know, he came that close to ending that 95 straight finish record for Andy Pilgrim right there.
Yes, he did. Unfortunately, right now these guys are out of the points, and so it doesn't look good for their championship at this very moment.
Overall leader continues to be Nick Ham in the Mazda, and he is enjoying now almost a 6-second lead. Oh, dirt tracking off that corner. Carried a lot of speed through there. That'll burn your tires up in a hurry. Look at him back off there.
Yeah, he's
burnt the flames. And
he's enjoying some hot rear tires is what he's enjoying. I think that's probably a case of, you know, here at Sears Point, the car is never straight. The car is almost always loaded and turning. And these cars can certainly generate a lot of tire temperature. And you can see he comes up the hill here and turns it in and just too much speed. And, you know, does a nice job there to just correct that slide and drive out of it. But that's not going to help your tire wear or your tire temperature.
Well, the gap between first and second has been vacillating back and forth because of traffic. And let's go down and visit with Jason Priestley, find out what the problem really was.
Well, obviously a very thirsty and hot Jason Priestley. Jason, they came in. You guys, you've been dropping pretty badly, and obviously had the off-course excursion. They went after the brakes. Were they really bad?
Yeah, well, you know, the brakes started to go away, and you know, sometimes that happens in these cars, and if you just take it easy on them for a while, they'll come back. But you know, so I was going easy on the brakes, and then the pedal just started going all the way to the floor, and I'm sure anyone who's ever had a brake failure can tell you it's kind of a disconcerting feeling, especially at the speeds we're doing at this track. And I just completely lost it. I had no brakes whatsoever. I've never experienced that before in a race car. So it was, you know, I think they figured the master cylinder failed in the car or something, but there was nothing I did. There was nothing I could do about it. I was just trying to stay out there hoping we'd get a yellow flag and we wouldn't go a lap down, but, you know, unfortunately we did, and like they say, I guess that's racing, right?
All right, James. Well, tough luck. Obviously, Andy in the car, he'll see what he can do. They did a great job getting those brakes changed, guys.
Yeah, we want to correct the statistics that Andy has gone 96 straight races without failing to finish. But again, he had not been in the car, so that would not have affected his string. But he's now in the car, and they're well off the pace as Nick Ham continues to lead. For the latest automotive industry news and features on new technology and products, tune in to Auto Week on Speedvision. The pages of Auto Week magazine come alive each Monday night with in-depth product reviews and test drives from some of Auto Week magazine's editors and writers at 7:30 Eastern Time. Hey, the leader is in. Let's go to the pits.
All right, you can see Nick Ham in the green and white helmet climbing out, Sylvain Tremblay in the colorful helmet hopping back in, the orange and blue. You can see the hood up, a little oil going to be added, and they're just going to do the driver's change. And look at this, no tires, no tires. They actually did a little bit of setup changing during practice and qualifying, anticipating a slick track, and apparently it is paying off. And this stop, they were hoping for a yellow. Everybody's been hoping for a yellow to get this done and not have to lose time into green, but they can go to the finish, perhaps for the first time this year, they can go to the finish hard. So they're anticipating this, the oil's in, they're going to finish up obviously with the refueling, and then Sylvain Tremblay can just stand on it all the way.
Well, you know, we have to question that report that we had earlier was that they could go an hour and 10 minutes, and they're just past that window.
Hour and 10 minutes at the outside.
Right.
If they said hour 5, hour 10.
There's an hour and 13 left in the race or thereabouts.
Right. So. I think it's safe to say that these boys are hoping for a yellow.
Or a splash and go later.
Well, yeah, but that'll certainly take them out of contention if they have to do that. Well, we know the BMW M3 that is now leading was in second place behind this car is quite a bit better on fuel. Calvin.
Okay, well, the number 92, Supra, is in, and Kelly Collins gets behind the wheel, and this guy is fast around Sears Point. He's been sitting there patiently. He gets the thumbs up from his co-driver, and these guys are ready to go. But you can see it's been a bit of a battle out here. We've got some fender damage in the left rear panel and also on the front of the car. So the team goes to work now. They try and do some slight repairs to the front body work. Meanwhile, we're waiting on fuel as usual. That's really the thing that takes the time here on these pit stops. Driver change is completed. Kelly Collins is behind the wheel. They're waiting for the last drop of fuel to get in. They're hoping to go all the way now without a splash of fuel. These yellows have really made a difference, and I believe we've got a car up on course.
Yeah, the 07 car off course, now back on course again.
And that's the Nissan 240 SX.
John Norris in the 07 car with the off-track excursion. He had been in contention for a victory in one of the other classes here in the touring class. He'd been leading earlier, so that hurts his competitive edge right there. Let's take a look again.
Yeah, it looks like he's a little wide of the apex there, and he just gets up on the curb and loops it. Could have opened his hands up a little bit there and just let that thing ride the curb, but it looks like he's already in first gear while he's rolling backwards.
Now,
there.
for a layman, when you say open his hands up, you mean?
Well, I mean, you know, he's counter steering up over that curb, but I think your tendency is to fight the car up the curb. And if you just let it bounce up and over the curb, you're probably not going to hook back to the inside. But by trying to avoid the curb, pull it back to the inside, you kind of force the car into a spin.
Oh, here's 54 in the pits for a routine stop, and this could mean they can go the rest of the way without making another stop.
Yeah, and you can see they're not changing tires, but they have the car jacked up. That's to help the fuel go in and to help get as much fuel in as possible. See, the jackman there is watching the fueler. As soon as they see that fuel is full, he'll drop the car and the car will go. Terry Borcheller, of course, who we spoke to earlier, is in the car now. And these cars fill awfully slowly. They have restrictors on those hoses. They don't want anyone to take too much, to mess up driver changes because they're rushing. So this is our new leader, 47.
Gary Smith in the Zippo car because of the routine pit stops. He had been back in about 5th position. He's now up in the lead, but he'll have to make a pit stop. As you see, Terry Borcheller, who was the fast qualifier yesterday, back to competition.
And I believe the 70 car, which was leading the 54 car, has gone by. So Terry Borcheller is going to have some work to do to take that car up. You know, we're going to see some shuffling here in the next 10 minutes or so. A lot of these cars in the top 10 will be making pit stops.
Well, we're looking now at the final hour of competition from the beautiful Sonoma Valley. It's wine country here in Northern California. Stay with us. We're coming right back. Another pit stop. Greg, let's go to the pit lane.
All right, well, interesting. This is the number 39 Phoenix Pontiac Buick, one of Joe Aquilani's 5 cars that started this one. Sort of the insurance car. John Heinrichsey getting in, and as you recall, he was originally slated to get into the 32 car with Stu Hayner. They're tied for the points lead. That 32 car with its problems well back. So Marty Miller, sort of the insurance driver here, has this car well in the running. He is out, and Heinrichsey's going to get in. It's going to split up the points a little bit, but they want to play the gamble here a little bit and make sure one of the 2 drivers here ends up with some strong points. Marty Miller did a nice job. They've got the tires done. They're finishing up on the left rear and just topping off that fuel. So this is an opportunity here for Heinrichsey to break out perhaps in a little bit of a lead of his own in the points. Looks like driver's change is done. Fuel's just finishing up. Bit of a problem on the right rear. Don't know what's going on, but it's taking some time. Try and take a look here. All right, now they've got it wound up, and they're still fueling. As you heard earlier, they want to make sure every possible drop is in. It is absolutely topped off, so they're going to be able to head out very quickly.
Well, of course, guys, the full course yellow that we had earlier, and before that, that red flag certainly changed everybody's pit strategy and really raised some more questions, because we're still not sure that number 70 car with Tremblay in hand can go the distance without a splash and go. And right now, most of the guys in the top positions have yet to make their pit stop. However, in 6th position right now is the number 70 Mazda of Sylvain Tremblay. So right now, the drivers that have stopped and changed drivers, that would be the car that looks like it's in best contention, with Borcheller right behind him in car number 54.
Yeah, Borcheller's within about 10 seconds. That battle, as you said, back
that
in
could be for the lead.
Could be for the lead back in 6 and 7. I believe the top 5 cars have not stopped yet.
Well, there's Fitzgerald now in 10th position, but they have yet to make a pit stop.
Yeah, they have not stopped, and of course this car is up in 10th because some of the Grand Sports cars in front of it have stopped. 10th is pretty good, though, overall for a sports car. Calvin?
Well, when Mike Fitzgerald does pit, it's going to be Jeff Perner, the chief instructor from Road Atlanta. And Jeff, Road Atlanta's a challenging track, but Sears Point is also. Do you agree?
Oh, absolutely. This is one of the toughest tracks, I think, in North America. You know, I hadn't been here in a few years, and when I showed up the other day, I'd forgotten how tough it was. A lot of twists and turns out there, and it's tough racing, you know. You got to really set it up for the passes and really work hard at it.
You guys took the win on the road at Watkins Glen and had a problem in compound, but you're obviously back running strong here at Sears Point. How do you expect the driver changes to actually stack up when you get in the car? Do some of the other cars in class have some strong driver lineups to match you when you get out there?
Oh, absolutely. The sports class is not a very big field, but it's very competitive. And a lot of good drivers out there, like Derek Hill. He'll be getting in with Jeff McMillan's car. And it's going to be a sprint to the finish. We're just hoping for a yellow right now, so we don't have to come in under the green. That will definitely hurt us. The Hondas get a bit better gas mileage. They can run longer and maybe, you know, try to stretch it and see if they can get a yellow. They'll have a better opportunity at that than we will.
Pit stop itself, it doesn't look like you're going to need a full tank of gas. Do you do a time stop on something like this?
Yeah, absolutely. Time stop, just get enough fuel in to be able to finish the race.
What about tires?
Tires should be okay. We've had enough yellows that I think the tires have been all right. Mike hasn't really said anything about the handling of the car, so I think we're okay. Good luck. Thank you, Calvin.
You know, I have to ask our driver experts here in the broadcast booth, Bill Oberlin and Jeremy Dale, at this junction in the race, I mean, we've seen all the dust flying up. It goes someplace. It goes back on the racetrack. We've talked about the marbles. We've talked about the shards of glass. It has to be a skating rink out there, guys.
Absolutely. You really are now getting reluctant to make these passes in the essence. You look there, you see the marbles right offline. You get in that, you're going for a ride. There's no doubt. So as you can see here, he's going to come into into turn 11, and that is a very good out-braking zone where you can out-brake people and make fast. Now you'll be making passes also in the top of 7. These are the two basic main places you're going to do your pass.
And beyond that, the groove starts to narrow down because of the rubber.
Yeah, and then as your tires wear out, you are a little less precise. You're still trying to drive hard and drive faster than ever now to try to make up the positions. So you tend to make a little mistake. You get a couple feet offline, and you can definitely go off here.
This is, by the way, this is a great race for position here. The 81 car and the 67 car. Yeah, these two cars racing for 8th and 9th. And it's a great battle. You can see the Honda very good with the handling, very good on the brakes. BMW definitely a little quicker, a little bit more powerful on the straightaways, and just a really nice battle here.
That 67 car is Bob Endicott back there in 9th position. And he's on the rear deck of Fitzgerald's 81 car.
And this is what I was talking about you have to be able to drive looking forward and still know what the guy behind you is doing and do this lap after lap without making any mistakes. Fitzgerald's got all kinds of pressure behind him, and he can, you know, you look here, he's going to slam the door on him here and again, and he has to do it and bring it home to Perner.
Well, and again, you have to do all of that looking forward, looking backward, because you're always in traffic, despite the fact it's a 2.5-mile road course. There's the time remaining from Sears Point. Back at the Toshiba Copiers California Grand Prix from Sears Point, your leader is in the pit lane. Calvin?
John KOHLER brings the Ford Mustang in, and it's going to be Gary Smith getting behind the wheel. Looks like they're going to go to front tires initially anyway. They're changing the fronts. Obviously, they're experiencing a bit of an understeer problem with the car. Not long to go here, about 45 minutes or so left in this one. It'll be interesting to see if they go to the rear as well. It should be a time stop. They're not going to need a full load. Looks like the driver change is complete. They're cleaning the windshield right now, waiting for the left front wheel to be snugged up here. And looks like that's all they're going to do. They're going to leave the rears alone, so they've decided to put new front tires on, trying to, you know, change the balance of the car a little bit, give it a little bit more front bite, particularly through this turn 11 turn here, coming on the front straightaway. It looks like the car was understeering quite a bit there during the stint. Meanwhile, it doesn't look as though Gary Smith has actually completed snugging up his seatbelts inside the car. The door has been closed. Normally that's an indication from the co-driver that the driver is ready to go, but he still seems to be struggling with his seatbelts as we stand here and watch. Now he looks like he's calm, he's ready to go. Looks like the last drop of fuel, they're waiting on that, and this is a long fuel stop here for how much running they have left, but obviously these guys know what they're doing. They're timing it out. They've got a guy looking at the fuel rig itself, checking on the fuel flow, and they get the okay, and he should be out of here momentarily, and he's out of here. Good start for this team, the Zippo team, and they're underway.
Well, of course, we had the wrong driver in there. We've been told that Gary Smith started the race and John would go in, but obviously with the closed cockpit, you really can't see the helmet to tell who's in there. And look who's leading. Off schedule with the pit stop, and I have to think, Bill, he has to come in shortly to make a pit stop to bring somebody else in. Look at this, another altercation down there in turn 10.
That's the teammate car to that 54 car who is in second place now, and that would be, looks like Chris Miller and Eduardo Dibus who are driving together. Eduardo, to give you an idea of the type of people that run in this series, Eduardo is coming down from World Sports Car in the Scandia Ferrari to drive in that car.
Let's go back and take a look at that altercation. Ooh, and Dave Murray was almost involved right there, too.
Yeah, it looks like that Mazda either spun or got spun, and Chris had to just stop the car.
All right, once again, here is your leader. The situation was they stopped early on. They got out of their pit sequence. Now, he has to make, by the rules, a pit stop to change drivers.
Yes, he does. But the longer he goes, the shorter that pit stop is going to be, because he'll have less fuel to take on. Oh, hello.
You saw that developing.
Yeah, you did see that developing. I'm quite sure Stu HAYNER saw that developing, and that's the kind of driver Stu is. He can see that stuff coming. So he will not retain the lead when he stops, but his stop will not be a long one, and he'll be actually in an excellent position here.
Well, once he makes that stop, that would give the lead to Terry Borcheller, who is now some 19 seconds behind him. But let's go back to the pit lane, Greg.
We had talked a little bit earlier about the gamble with the number 39 car being healthy and the number 32 car being a little wounded of putting Heinrichs in. HAYNER's done a brilliant job bringing that car back up to the lead, but with this slew of green flag stops, if he has to do it on the green, they're going to drop way back. So the gamble actually looks like it might be a good one. The interesting thing has been watching, especially in this hairpin over here in by start finish where we're standing. Stu is driving very wide open arcs, obviously trying not to have to turn that wheel that much. He's done a great job, but it would appear the gamble is still a smart one, because if this stop happens under green, they're going to plummet way back.
I'd like to talk to him tomorrow and see how sore he is.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if they stop under green, I think he's going to stay ahead of the 39 car. So I think really the reason that they put Heinrichs into the other car was that he wasn't going to get his 40 minutes if he got in this car. In other words, this car was going to be able to run long enough that Heinrichs wouldn't get his 40 minutes, wouldn't get his points, because you have to drive 40 minutes to get points. So I think that's probably the reason that they put John Heinrichs in the 39 car.
Well, there are 43 minutes to go, give or take a few seconds, and the co-driver must drive 40 minutes for points.
Exactly. So I think they knew that this car would go longer than that required amount of time. So they did the safe thing. Calvin?
Machine is now in 4th place, and John, you had a great spin there, but it looks like it was warm work out there today.
Well, it was. It's really exhausting. It's so hot out there. The car started getting loose too, because it was out of fuel. It started getting lightning back in, and I was sliding all over. Piston shifts because I was really getting tired. I was glad it ran out of fuel. Not usually wanting to do that, but Zippo Mustang did really good.
Seemed like you put new front tires on, obviously with a new fuel load. Does that make it put the car push a little more, and that's why you needed better fronts?
Well, yeah, but the real problem is going into 6, we're pushing that tire off. We're pushing down through the carousel there all the time, so it's pushing the tire off. So we made a decision before the race we're going to change those tires, because we didn't know if it was ripping them off or not, but we'll see. We're in 4th now.
You're running 4th, I believe, and an interesting note with this team is that your father and Gary's typically come along and help on the weekend, and I understand your dad is, what, 81 years old, if I get that right, the right way around, and other way around, and Gary's is 70 or whatever, but pretty old age to have working on the crew there.
Well, they're young in heart, though. They're young in heart. My dad keeps working every day. You wouldn't know he was 70 to look at him.
Okay, well, good luck for the rest of this one.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Well, yeah, they're in 4th position, some 88 seconds back, but once again, it may all come down to Terry Fortscheller, who is now 17 seconds behind your leader, but we anticipate a pit stop from HAYNER anytime. We're coming right back.